Hey guys, this is Apocalypse from Kingdom 84, Chaos Incorporated Alliances. Today we're going to pretty much quickly go through stack attacks, which is the best method of attack that you can provide. Stack attacks are pretty much allow you and your members to participate in battles as long as all participating members arrive at the battle location relatively at the same time. Then you can stack your troops up and let them go at it. So this is a quick description on how to conduct a stack attack. And the best thing that I always recommend is to select a stack leader or someone that can coordinate these stacks at these stack times. As you can see, our stack leader is Santrox, and the best method is, pretty much post the coordinates on the chat, gather a group of your members that are online, and start setting it up. Takes a little bit longer than planning, planning a rally, though the advantage is that you're not limited to your Hall of War and your rally size. With stack attacks, you could send unlimited amounts of troops. As long as the battle's going on, they will enter the battle and help defend, and could mean the difference between winning or losing the battle. So pretty much best thing to do is to state the times of how long you are till target. It's always good to always have the longest march be the first person to lead. Everyone else would pretty much time their marches so that when they reach at their point in the march, they can, set their troops out and times it so that the arrival matches the first march. And that is the first person who pretty much started marching on the target for the stack attack. So just gonna let you pretty much see the process of communication. It's always very important to communicate within your alliance so that there are no mistakes. The thing about stack attacks is that they have to be timed perfectly. Now, I don't recommend using speed ups to the very last end, because if you do, that could kind of mess up everyone else's times, and then you have everyone else trying to use their speed ups, which can then, make everyone late to the target, and which will end up having the player fight alone, which is exactly what we don't want. And so it's just very important that communication is displayed, and there's a process, and people aren't just going on stack attacks on their own. But you can't stack attack on your own anyway, but stack attacks do require more than one participants in order for it to be effective. So the next best thing to do is speed that Igor is leading. As you're going to see, I'm going to select his march. And you can see everyone else is starting to time their battle. So as you can see, that's pretty relatively close. So Formunda will be able to make the target. Now, the best thing to do is to have like a timer or a stopwatch or something, that you can time your march. For instance, I would send my troops out to the target at 11:04. So when Irigur's time reaches 11 minutes and 4 seconds, then me on my end, I should already have been starting to march towards the target. That will allow us to pretty much, arrive at the same exact time. As you can see here, little by little, you'll start seeing members joining into the fight. So best thing to do is, if you don't have a timer, is to count in your head, to get a natural flow in order to try to arrive, to the target. So for me, I'm going to be probably heading out in about 30 seconds from now. And let me just prep here. Okay, so we're about 20 seconds away. Sometimes it's best just to select Eric's march. Okay. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and I'm in. So let's to make sure. Now, what I was going to explain, the best thing that you can do is set the lead marcher's time. Being that it was Eric's, he's going to be the first one entering the battle. So if you was to select his march and then follow his army in, that's another good way that you can keep tabs of how far away is he compared to you, that you pretty much must set out your march. As you can see, his time is 10:27, I'm 10:30, so I'm a few seconds behind. But being that I can, once I reach the target or Iriger ends up starting the battle, then I can just quickly use a 25% speed up in order to make sure that I'm able to jump in. That'll definitely get me into the battle. Another thing that will get you into the battle will be if the battle is still going on. If there's a lot of troops and enemies are sending in reinforcements, that'll keep the battle going. So as long as the battle is still going, any members that are involved in the stack attacks will be able to reinforce and support the other members in the attack. And the best thing to do, when you are doing the stack attacks, I always recommend to make sure that there's always an elite rank or an officer rank that is always keeping tabs on the enemy target. Make sure that there isn't any reinforcements being provided. Then if there are reinforcements being provided, then they should pretty much go into the alliance chat and let everyone know, hey, target 579-804, it's receiving reinforcements, and keep tabs of how far away those reinforcements, so that usually on stack attacks you really don't need to worry too much about that, because the whole point of these stack attacks is to pretty much send as many troops in as possible. So whether they have 2 or 3 reinforcements or they're sending reinforcements, pretty much it's just going to make it into a more awesome battle. So I never really worry about reinforcements during stack attacks, because as you can see from the looks of it, as long as you have an active alliance and active members and active communications, stack attacks are pretty much very devastating. They can take down even the biggest players. I've noticed out in the forums, a lot of players that have a lot of power are surprised when, a rally of 10 members or, with only 840,000 troops attack them, and they end up losing all their power, and they get so shocked. So they're pretty, this is what pretty much makes War and Order stand out compared to the rest of the other games. So pretty much the stack methods that are needed is pretty much first a communication and a coordinator. The second thing is find out the march times to the target for the people who are going to be involved. Third would be to determine who is the longest march person. That would be the first person who should be sending out the march time, and everyone else will be pretty much looking at their march at that first march in order to time their march to the target. And the fifth thing is pretty much just let it ride. And it's always pretty amazing when you can get a bunch of your members to join in on a stack, and as you can see, everyone is pretty much close to or near the time that they should be at in order to start the battle. Practice makes perfect. You know, not everyone is always going to get it right on the money. You only gain that through experience and through practicing. We always run exercises here at the CIA on these methods and different tactics, and that's what any alliance that are highly active and have members to do so should be practicing in order to fully defend as well as attack high value targets. So let's see here. Let's find Uruguay. We're about 6 minutes and 5 seconds away. Now, the beauty about these stacking is that it also works on defense. On defense, you're pretty much limited to how large your embassy is. Of course, the higher the embassy is, the more troops or reinforcements troops you can hold in your castle. But you're limited to that. So, for instance, if your enemy is sending in the march on you, and you have all your troops home, and you have room for 3 reinforcements, and your embassy is full, any other people or members that are trying to send you reinforcements, if they reach the target before the enemy, they'll just be sent back home, which kind of defeats the purpose of sending in reinforcements. The best thing that I always recommend is just to use the stack mentality method for reinforcing. In other words, even though if the embassy is full, or your embassy is full with reinforcements, you can still have your other members in your alliance wait till the battle starts and have them join the battle. And you could pretty much provide unlimited support or reinforcements troops to your ally if needed. The best method to pretty much take care of that would be the same difference. The only thing is that you don't have to wait for coordination. You don't have to call out times. Pretty much select the enemy march like we have here with Uruguay. Let's just pretend he was the enemy. Well, he is the enemy to the target. So pretty much for the defense stacking, if you can see, if this was an enemy coming in towards us, he would be about 3 minutes and 50 seconds away from me. Being that, let's say the target is currently the one of my members' castle, which would take me 11 minutes and 4 seconds ahead of time, I would have done the same exact thing. When I saw the enemy march reach 11 minutes and 4 seconds, I should have already started sending in my reinforcement troops to support my ally. That allowed me to get into my ally's castle or battle, even though their embassy was already full with reinforcement troops. And of course, you can. I'm gonna write a quick guide on stacking and put it up on the in-game forum. So make sure to check out the strategy section, as that's where I put up most of these things as far as when it's in text. So it looks like, okay, we're about 2 minutes and 50 seconds away.